What's up, everyone? This little video has nothing to do with cracker or crumbs at all. It's just something funny that, well, now it's funny, but that happened to me that I was telling my friends about, which he wanted me to make a video explaining it because he found it way too funny. So I figured, what the hell, make a video, tell you what happened. Um, my fiance gave me $20 to go to the bank to pay a bill that I had. So I got in the car, started driving towards the bank, and I'm gonna say about 5 blocks before I got to the bank, some jackass came right up and back of me and started flashing his brights, and kept doing on and off. So I was like, oh, something might be wrong. Maybe my trunk's open, or something's hanging from my tire, or whatever, something. So I pulled to the side of the road, and the guy pulls up next to me, and I roll down the window, and he's like, I'm sorry, dude. He's like, I thought you were my friend. I said, no. No, he's like, oh, well, anyway, do you have any drugs or any kind of beer you can sell me? And I looked at him and I laughed. I said, no, sorry. He's like, oh, no problem. So he drives off, and then I pull away and start going towards the bank. And about maybe 10, 15 feet, maybe 5, 10, 15 feet, give or take, from the bank, I get pulled over by a cop. And I'm like, this just isn't my day. All I want to do is get to the bank. And cop pulls me over and comes up and asks for my license and registration, and I give it to him, and he goes back and comes back a couple minutes later and says that the car is stolen. And I look at him, I said, how is it stolen? He's like, well, it's not registered to you. I'm like, I know. I was like, it's registered to my fiance. So he's like, well, how come you didn't say it to begin with? I was like, well, I didn't think of it. So then he's like, oh, well, if I call her, is she going to tell me it's stolen? I said, well, she's asleep right now, but you can give her a call and she's not going to say it's stolen. I was like, we can share the car. So he walks away, comes back about like 5 minutes later and says, do you know why I pulled you over? And I said, no, I really don't. He's like, well, I witnessed you getting pulled over a couple blocks down, and I believe that you're a drug dealer. And I looked at him and I just kind of like, I almost like I tried not to laugh, but it looked like it was going to come out and I was going to start laughing, and you don't want to do that. But I said, no. I was like, I don't. He's like, do you drink? And I was like, no. He's like, have you been drinking today? I was like, no, I don't drink and I don't do drugs. And he's like, well, I find that hard to believe. And I said, hey, believe what you want. I was like, it's the truth. So he's like, well, do you mind if I search the car, because I believe that you sold drugs to the people that you pulled to the side of the road for. I said, no, go ahead. So I get out of the car, and he searches me and doesn't find anything. He searches the car and doesn't find anything. And he says, you know what, don't let me pull you over again. He's like, because I'll find something or whatever, some weird thing. So I said, okay. He's like, have a nice night. And I said, okay, you do the same, officer. And I drove to the bank, and I get out of the car to go deposit my $20. So I take out my wallet to get my my credit card to get into the bank, debit card, whatever it is. And just before I get to the door, I got the wallet in my hand, and you really shouldn't do that, but you got to kind of get your card in. So besides that, this guy walks up to me, and I turn around and I said, yeah, and he's like, do you have uh, any money? And I looked at him. I said, no, not really. He's like, oh, what's in your wallet? So I said, it's $20. And he's like, well, I'll take that. And I was like, no. I was like, I'm paying a bill with it. He's like, well, do you have any extra cash you can give me? He's like, because I want to get the train. And I'm like, no. I was like, I really don't. I was like, I don't. He's like, well, I don't have a job. And I'm like, well, I don't either. He's like, well, you have $20. I'm like, yeah, that I had to borrow. I was like, and I don't even know why I'm even getting into it with this guy, but I was like, I can't help you. I was like, I really apologize. I'm sorry. Oh yeah, whatever, dude. He walks away. I go into the bank. I deposit my $20 so I could pay a bill. And the second I come out of the bank, the guy shows up again. He's like, oh, well, do you have any money now, bro? I'm like, dude, I was like, I just told you. I opened my wallet, I had nothing in my wallet. I was like, look, there's nothing in there. I was like, not that there's any of your business, like, but I really don't have any money. I was like, I'm broke. And he's like, oh, well, you just deposited $20. That doesn't mean you're broke. I'm like, it does mean I'm broke. I was like, because it wasn't mine. So, anyway, the guy's like, yeah, whatever. He gives me the finger and walks away. I'm like, God bless America. And I get in the car, and the second I pull out of the bank, a cop pulls me over again. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I was like, this just isn't my night. All I wanted to do was go to the bank and deposit $20. So, it's the same damn cop, too. And my friend's like, well, how did he get you again? I was like, well, it looked like he parked across the street that was, ironically, next to the Dunkin' Donuts, which is pretty damn funny because, hey, but I'm not going to get into that. The cop comes to the window. He's like, you again. He's like, you just can't stay out of trouble, can you? I said, apparently not. So he goes, he's like, did you sell drugs to that guy you were talking to? I was like, no. I was like, officer, I was like, I don't sell drugs. I was like, I don't drink. I don't do any of that stuff. And He's like, oh, well, he's like, I believe that you sold drugs to that guy, and now I got you. I finally got you. And he's like, can you step out of the car? I'm like, oh my god. So then he's like, you had drugs. I'm like, so I said, I was like, what am I, Houdini? I was like, I magically, shot drugs out of my hands. I was like, you checked my car, you checked me, you found absolutely nothing. I was like, so now I magically had drugs to give this or sell to this guy. And I was like, did I go to the Hogwarts school for drug transportation? I was like, magical drug transportation. And the guy was getting kind of pissed. He's like, oh, funny man, He's like, stand over there. He's like, where I can see you. So then he's like, I'm gonna check the car again. So he's looking through the car, and he comes back out, and he's like, yeah. And I was like, so I said to him, I was like, did you find anything? He's like, what do you mean? I was like, did you find the dead body in the trunk, or the kilo of coke in the muffler? And the cop just gave me like this just evil look, like he wanted to kick my ass. And he's like, yeah, funny man, funny man. He's like, I'm gonna get you. He's like, I'm gonna get something on you. And I was like, unless it's a plan, officer. I was like, then. I was like, you're not getting me on anything. I was like, because I don't do any of that stuff. I don't sell drugs. I don't do drugs. I don't even want to be anywhere near drugs. And I don't drink. I don't have any alcohol, nothing. And I don't would sell it even if I did. That's illegal, number one. But I wouldn't do it to begin with because I don't do it. So then the cop gives me back my license, and I get in the car, and he goes, don't let me catch you again tonight, or you're going to go to jail because I'm going to, I'm fine something. So I said to him, I said, well, stop following me. You won't have to put me in jail. And he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I was like, have a nice night, officer. And I waved as I drove away. Um, just a funny, interesting story. You want to believe it or not, that's up to you. It happened. I was pissed at the time, but now I'm kind of laughing at it because it was kind of funny. And I do believe that kilo of coke in the muffler thing was pretty funny. Well placed jab. So anyway, to my friend Tony, who wanted to hear the story on video and told me to put it on YouTube, he said it'd be funny as hell. I hope everyone got a laugh out of it and enjoyed it, because I certainly did. My trip to the bank. This is one of the reasons why I don't like leaving my apartment, because it just gets me nothing but trouble. It's the way my luck is. Anyway, later.